What's up everybody, this is Mike. Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to talk about the DJI Osmo Action and how you can create some stunning looking long exposure photos with this great little camera. If you're familiar with my channel, you probably already know I'm a huge fan of long exposure photos. I used to take them with my Mavic Air, I take them now with my Mavic 2 Pro, and I also use my Osmo Action for some long exposure photos, and I'm a huge fan of that long exposure photo effect. The main goal of the long exposure photos is to give the sense of speed and to emphasize on the motion that you're trying to capture in your shot. And with this ND1000 filter from Freewell, you can now capture long exposure photos with your Osmo Action. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how this works, how to set it up, as well as some little tips on how to make your photos look even better. So first things first, the installation process. It's really not complicated at all. All you need to do is screw off the original filter that comes on the camera and screw on the ND1000 filter from Freewell. If you have used ND filters on this camera before, this is the same procedure, nothing is different. So just install and put your camera on a tripod. The tripod is essential for long exposure photos because you need the camera to be 100% stable. Keeping your camera in your hand is just impossible for long exposure photos. Definitely try with a tripod on, and you need to place the camera on a completely stable surface where it won't move at all because you don't want to have any blurriness in your shots. You can use pretty much any tripod that you have. I personally chose to go with my Insta360 tripod, but if you have a larger one that you can attach to the Osmo Action, that also works. As long as it can be attached on the cage of the Osmo Action, it will work just fine. But keep in mind, if your tripod is not stable enough and there is a lot of wind around you, you might have to change your location or just wait until the wind dies down, because you need the camera to be 100% stable if you want to capture those shots. Once you do those things, now you can turn on the camera and go into the settings. I've already made a custom mode for my photos and I tweak it a little bit depending on the situation. So in this case, I have selected my photo size to be 4:3 and not 16:9 because I want to fill up that frame. I can always crop it afterwards. I have selected to shoot both in JPEG and RAW, and shooting in RAW makes everything possible because you can edit the photo the way you want it to look afterwards. It captures so much more data and the dynamic range of the photo is just much better compared to just JPEG. So basically you have all the freedom to edit your photo afterwards in Lightroom, and this is crucial for taking long exposure photos. I also set my white balance to auto because when you shoot in RAW, it doesn't really matter what your white balance is because you can always change it afterwards in post, and I prefer to not care and think about the white balance when I'm shooting photos. And the most important setting that you need to change is to switch from auto to manual camera settings. This is where you can actually make your long exposure photo, and the key here is to set your ISO to the lowest amount possible, which is 100. This will eliminate the chance of having noisy photos, and especially if you're shooting during a sunny day, you don't really need anything higher than 100. The next thing which you need to do is to switch your shutter speed to something longer. The shutter speed will always vary depending on your lighting conditions. So ideally it should be between 1 and 2 seconds. And keep in mind you can watch that EV information on the screen to show you if you're under or overexposed. Don't be afraid to overexpose your shots just a little bit, because when you shoot in RAW, you can always edit your photo and lower the exposure or bring down the highlights just a little bit. So maybe you can overexpose your photo by 0.7 or even by a full stop. If you do that with JPEG, that won't be possible. So always remember to shoot in JPEG plus RAW and just edit the RAW files. Like I said, the shutter speed really comes down to your environment and what you're trying to capture. Since you cannot change the aperture of the Osmo Action, is set to f2.8 at all times, and you can't really go to an ISO higher than 100. The only thing which you can tweak for long exposure photos is your shutter speed. So play around with that, try different settings. I experimented with some longer shutter speeds and with some shorter shutter speeds, and the results were very different. So depending on your conditions, you will have different results. Once you start shooting, it's very important to keep the camera as stable as possible. Another thing which you need to do is to either use the Mimo app to control the camera from there, or you can do what I do and set a timer for your camera. So when I frame the shot properly and I'm ready to take the photo, I just set a timer for 2 seconds. I press the record button and I move back because I don't want to shake the camera. Even a slight press on the camera will move it a bit and you will have some blurriness in your photos. So it's better to not do that. Instead, you can just set the timer to 2 seconds, press the record button, go back, let the camera do its thing, or you can just use the DJI Mimo app and control the camera from there. This is also a good option because it gives you the chance to change your settings or to switch your mode from photo to video. You can pretty much do anything from the app, so you might want to try that as well. Just do whatever fits you best. And after you take your shots, the beauty comes when you start editing, because you can really make your shots pop. When you shoot in RAW, you can throw some filters, some presets, you can edit them as much as you want, and you can get some really nice looking results. I personally love these shots of the Ferris wheel. It looks crazy, but I love that look. Of course, long exposure photos are not meant to work for every single situation. I wanted to go to the beach and capture the waves, but unfortunately I couldn't do that because the waves were just not there. It was very calm sea today, so I couldn't do that. So it really doesn't work for every single scenario. But if you have something interesting that is moving and you want to capture that specific movement, you can definitely achieve amazing look with the Osmo Action and with the ND1000 filter from Freewell. And I think that's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to demonstrate how this filter works, how it looks like, and how easy it is to operate your manual settings and create a stunning looking long exposure photo with the DJI Osmo Action. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you did by clicking on that like button, and drop a comment if you have any questions. I'll try to respond to everyone as usual. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you very soon. Ciao.